You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Hopefully we have Nicholas Ginex with us. Nick, are you there?
Yes, I think you solved the problem. I don't hear the feedback.
Excellent, excellent. All right, Nicholas, my friend, tell me about what happened with the Benghazi hearings. I watched when Secretary Clinton was on, and it seemed as if all this 8 or 10 hours did for her was give her more media time, and still very little information came out.
That appears to be the case. Unfortunately, it seems that the Select Committee has really been relegated to be a fact-finding committee, and not so much to prosecute or shall I say, deliver questions that sound like she's under a prosecution of some sort. In fact, Hillary was a little bit annoyed the way some of the questions were coming to her from, I think it was Tom Jordan or Jim Jordan, and it seems that the committee has a problem because not half, but about 1/3 of the committee, who are the Democrats, are really there to kind of defend Clinton, certainly not to hurt her in any way. You can see that whenever questions came her way from the Democrat members, she was very relaxed and smiling and seemed to have no problem. But when a Republican member started to question her, you can see that she was on her guard and very careful and not very happy. So you can see that there's a problem even within the Select Committee itself. I don't know how they're going to resolve that because there's talk going around that even the FBI investigation is not really going to try to prosecute her and follow up on the details of what happened at Benghazi. It seems that since the Obama administration really is in charge of the judicial system, you might say, the FBI may be soft pedaling their entire efforts. I felt that the committee could have been a little bit more aggressive. I believe that you may question why they were not more aggressive, and I think that it may be that it would be an embarrassment to the United States government, or it would be too much to present to the American people at this time the details of the Benghazi fiasco, because it would cast a shadow of impeachment over the president and a disgraceful resignation in Hillary's bid to be president of the United States. This is a problem. The general, I believe, Petraeus, I can't pronounce his name. You can help me on that, Rob. Petraeus, the general who was in fact...
Petraeus, yes.
Yes. He did not have as much damaging email problems as Hillary, where she, you might say, did not follow the law probably 5 to 10 times more than Petraeus. But she seems to be getting away with it. And again, I think it's the government, the administration, and certainly the FBI are going to make it kind of just float. But there is a way for the Benghazi Select Committee to still be effective.
How's that, Nick?
Well, It depends. Their report that they will probably disseminate, I would hope, would be very detailed and produce many of the facts that lead to very positive conclusions that Clinton was derelict in her duty to provide the safety and protection of the personnel at Benghazi. And that there were certainly a fabricated lie by Obama and Hillary Clinton to pursue the YouTube video story, which was deemed and proven to be false. And there are many reasons why they knew better, and they knew that it was false, but they continued to give this story for over 2 weeks to the American public. Now, to lie to the American people, that to me is a severe problem, and certainly should be addressed. Why the president should get away, and Hillary get away with lying to the American people with a blatant lie,
right,
is amazing. So I would hope that the Select Committee, in their final report, will be wise enough to present their information and the evidence in such a way that the conclusions are so evident and obvious that Obama and Hillary Clinton were not acting in the interests of the American people, but in fact they were more concerned about trying to protect the chances for the election process in November of 2012, which was about 7 or 8 weeks after that Benghazi attack.
Right.
So the revelation of revealing this truth would have been costly for President Obama, and it would have revealed that his foreign policy was a failure. He could not allow that.
Well, anyone who's been watching the news knows for a fact that his foreign policies have been failures. Look at the mess in Syria. You know, he drew a couple of red lines in the sand, and each time a line came up, he retreated. And it was only after the mess with Syria that Russia looked at and said, well, look what's happened to the great United States of America. They're not that tough. Their leader is weak.
And Putin has really made a name for himself. He appears to be today the world leader, and certainly shows to be a much greater leader than Obama. Obama has proven himself to be very weak. And there are many reasons that surface. In my book, Obama, Islam, and Benghazi,
right,
I talk about the three main topics, not only about Obama, but why Islam is in fact a threat to the world. And I show that with the history of Islam. And then in the last third of the book, I do go into details why Obama and Hillary Clinton are in fact culpable for the deaths of the 4 Americans. Many people do not realize, and it's due to the media. We have a media, call it the liberal media if you wish. It appears that they seem to be in control of what's going out there, feeding the public. But they have not indicated to the American people that Obama, in fact, as a young man, a young boy, was indoctrinated in the Quran for at least a few years in his early youth. This had to subconsciously ingrained in him a great respect for Islam and an affinity for the Muslim people, because it appears that he sides with Muslims. Ever since he has been in office, you will note, and the people, if they read a little bit more about what he's done in office, he has honored the Muslims for really being part of the development of America, which in fact is another blatant lie. And I indicate in my book why. I actually show facts that Muslims have not really arrived on the American scene until the late 1800s. By that time, America has already been established with a constitution and basically with the morality of immigrants from Europe and from really Europeans who and the English who really had an effective, you might say, impressed the Americans with morality that's much better than Islam. But I sat down after listening to this particular hearing, and I wrote 2 articles, one of which I sent to you about a week ago, and I'm happy to see that you're going to put it in the X-Chronicle newspaper. It's entitled Benghazi October 22 Hearing Evidence and More.
That's right.
Because I provide more evidence than what the committee were able to develop. And I believe that it may have been too early for the select committee to surface many key questions. Perhaps it's because of the sensitivity, and they have to go a little bit slower. But I wrote a second article that I also sent you that you may want to also consider, if not in your next chronicle, the following one. The following one, I pursued my analysis with another title called written Questions to be Pursued by the Benghazi Select Committee. There are 3 questions that I think need to open up and inform the people, American people, why Obama and Hillary Clinton need to be impeached and reprimanded for what they've done. The 3 questions that I surfaced was, 1, did the White House know that the Benghazi terror attack was planned at least 10 days in advance? Another question I gave, who gave the stand-down order at the very start of the attack? And then the third question, what did President Obama and then Secretary of State Clinton discuss over the phone at 10 p.m. the night of the Benghazi attack? These are 3 key questions that they didn't surface when Hillary was being questioned. They are very important questions, and I think the Select Committee is moving ahead at a slow pace. I am not sure that I know why.
I was just going to ask. I was just going to ask you, Nick. Yeah, the fact that they're moving very slow, the fact that they're not appearing to be being, any. They're not. No new information is really surfacing, and what little information that did surface was kind of put to the side. What is their mandate? What is their authority? Is this just a fact-finding mission? And what happens to these facts? Like, I don't think even the American public knows what the hell's going on anymore.
Well, I think that is what this committee is really boiled down to do. It's a fact-finding committee in my mind. It's not a committee that gets evidence together and then starts to ask some very embarrassing questions and pursue it like a prosecutor would.
Right.
I don't think that is their position, and I think they made it clear that they're really a fact-finding sort of thing, panel. But they would be wise to produce a written report that shows not only the facts, but why those facts lead up to a definitely conclusive conclusions that Obama and Hillary definitely have tried to fool the American people with a YouTube video, and was reason why they didn't really support the personnel in Benghazi, because of the fact that they didn't want to make this news surface that there was a problem in Libya, because Obama was for months just prior to the election indicating he had a strong foreign policy, and he did not want the information to get out that in fact there were real problems in Libya, and that there was an attack on the embassy. And so they blamed it on a YouTube video.
Of course.
It was spontaneous.
Yeah.
But the DOD did get evidence that it was Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood that had plans 10 days in advance of the attack. And this evidence was accrued by the DOD, and it happened to get into the hands of Tom Fitton. He is the president of Judicial Watch. He is a man who tries to really get at the bottom. He's a lawyer, but he is funded by donations by the public to do what the public would like an independent committee or organization do. And he has requested information, freedom of information that he got, that the government was holding back. But he finally got information, I think in May of this year, that the DOD was able to show that Obama and Clinton, certainly the State Department, knew that it was definitely a pre-planned attack on Benghazi.
Well,
in light of that information, yeah.
Well, what wasn't it brought up during the hearing when Secretary Clinton was there, that on her email server, an email was found from her to her daughter in which she said it was an attack? Exactly.
Now, this was a mild email. This is an email that confirms that she knew that it was an attack.
Right.
But to be noted is that the evidence that Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch was able to get from the DOD was not surfaced by the committee. That's even more damaging, because it actually shows that even the offices on the Department of Defense knew that it was an Al-Qaeda or a Muslim Brotherhood attack. And they had information that showed there were plans 10 days in advance of the attack. This could have been surfaced at the meeting of October 31st, and it was not. October 22nd, when they had the meeting with Clinton. Yes, you're right. The email that Hillary sent to her daughter confirms that, yes, she knew that. But the damaging evidence that the entire DOD knew that, and she went against their particular information and ignored it. Both Obama and Clinton ignored that information that was official, and went ahead with a YouTube story. And this is what the Select Committee needs to be able to show in a report, that this particular YouTube story was indeed a fabrication, a blatant lie to the American people. And for the American people to be fooled and to accept that lie shows that, gee, are they uneducated? I don't think the American people are that stupid. There are a lot of bright, intelligent people out there, but you have a great following of Obama people that only think in one direction.
Yeah, that is so
true.
true.
They don't know how to evaluate the evidence.
You know, look what he did. Look what Obama did today. He's releasing 6,000 6,000 people out of jail who haven't finished their sentences or anything, but, because this is his new reform system. Is this man playing with a full deck?
There is a problem. I don't think that's going to result in more votes. I don't know if felons or people who have a prison record are allowed to vote. I'm not sure about that. But if so, that would be another 6,000 votes. But definitely he is putting out on the streets an element of people that are disgruntled, dissatisfied with the American system, were not able to really get a job of their own, went out to sell dope and drugs so that they could exist. Do you think that they really honor the way of life of America? And they will very likely be good, sound candidates for Obama to amass people who would like to tear down the protection of the police. The police are having a problem here in America.
Big time.
And this is, again, due to Clinton. In 2 or 3 of the cases that came up that showed that the people that he was supporting were shown to be definitely the ones who started the problems, and yet they blamed the police. And Obama's never came out to say I was wrong, but he got a great, and he's got a great amount of blacks who are very happy to support Obama because, he's looking out for them. But they are being fooled by this man because the job and the market employment for blacks is at an extreme low. So what has he done for the black people? He has done nothing. He's just caused more bias and caused them to be more disgruntled and kind of hate the American system, when this is the one system in the world where people can get ahead with an education. But Obama has not solved the problem for the black people. He has not tried to be a role model for them. Here is a black man who could emphasize that the family is highly important, education, a man, a husband, and a wife, a mother, are very important to have a strong family union with children as they grow, to give them discipline, respect for authority, and to make sure that they are driven in a direction where they can make something of themselves. But many of the black families don't have a father. So this is a sad thing that Obama has not tried to reverse. Maybe there's an embarrassment with black people that, hey, we ought to be doing something, but we are the problem. And it's a shame, but we have some very bright, intelligent black people today. And how about who is now in first place? In the presidential campaign.
The Republican?
Bob? Yeah.
Oh, of course, Donald Trump. Because he's saying what everybody is thinking.
Yeah, but who's in second place at this point?
Ben Carson.
The black
man. Ben Carson. Mind you, Ben Carson is starting to lose his grip. Marco Rubio is going to be overtaking Ben Carson very soon. Ben Carson, I listened to him and I'm saying, this guy is boring. I wouldn't trust him with a BB gun, let alone the United States nuclear arsenal.
Well, I wouldn't put it that way, Rob. I could trust him because I believe he definitely is a man of integrity. What he doesn't have is the spunk, and the leadership quality to really get people behind him. A lot of the intellectuals and people that are well balanced definitely support him. Even my wife does, and I can understand why. I do to a certain extent. But you want a fighter out there.
Exactly.
And and this is what we need.
When I looked at I've been watching the debates, and I hear Trump, and like Trump, he's a self-made man. He's good with money. He's got a lot of pros. And then you look at Carson, and you say to yourself, who would you like to see sit down with Putin? Carson? No way. He's a wuss. Trump? He's a fighter. And you see, this is where the problem lies as far as I'm concerned with the president of the United States right now. He's a politician. He's a politician. And he is up against a warrior. And you know what?
Yeah.
Russia is walking all over him.
Oh, yeah. Did you say that Obama is a politician?
Yes. He's not a warrior.
He's what I call a self-serving politician.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't really know that much, but he will go where he feels he's going to get more votes and more public support than what appears to be appealing. But who cares about the strength and the protection and security of the United States?
Nick, let me ask you a question. What is your opinion about the immigration policy right now in the United States?
Well, I think that definitely I drew a blank again. First, the guy who's in first place right now again. Give me his name.
Donald Trump.
I've been Donald Trump. He had hit it on the nose that the immigration policy is a very weak one, and he seems like he's too strong, but the birth babies that become citizens is a problem because they not only become citizens, but the parents and the relatives become citizens, and this is an influx of people where years ago we had to have people had to take tests to become citizens. I remember my grandfather had to take a test to become an American citizen. You don't have that today. I kind of wonder what's going on. So it's an extremely weak system. We definitely need a Donald Trump there, and I think a lot of people are starting to recognize that this is true. You're right that there are in second place and third place. We have two good candidates, but they don't have I think, the forcefulness and the ability to stand up for America. To me, this is why Donald Trump, in fact, ran for the presidency. He didn't have to.
Right.
The guy's a rich man. Yeah. He can just sit on his ass and not even worry about it. But he does have a worry because he has brought up a wonderful family. He's got wonderful, bright children. And he realizes that if America is gone, what have you got in this world? You've got a particular country called Iran that President Obama has infused into their economy $150 billion to have Iran build not only their nuclear weapons system, but to build their economy and to create more terror. He doesn't want to create more terror, but that's in fact what he has Islam doing or Iran doing. It's really a shame that Obama, having come from a Muslim background, after all, he was born in from a Muslim Shiite family, was trained in the Quran for over 2 years, and he was definitely indoctrinated. But what's weak with this man, he does not know the history of the Muslims. He's not that well educated. In my book, Obama, Islam, and Benghazi, I provide a history of Islam, where I try to educate the American public that ever since Islam surfaced, they started to conquer countries all over the place. It was never with love and compassion. They used the sword, where they conquered from Turkey across the Mediterranean to Spain, down into Africa, and they conquered many countries. So many countries that about in 30 years or so, they were an empire. But that empire didn't last. And why? Because their people, though they conquered many countries, didn't have the education and the leadership to control what they conquered. Eventually, they lost that great empire. In Italy, the Crusades came back and they took back the lands that the Muslims took from them. Other countries started to do the same. So this is something that Obama is not aware of, that Islam is a problem and it's a threat to the world.
Well, let's get one thing straight, Nick, and I'm sure you agree with me on this, that not all Muslims are bad. There are many peace-loving. There are those who want to do everything they can to be good American citizens, and we have the same here in Canada. Many are good, and many also want to become good Canadians. But when I look at what's happening in London, in Paris, in Germany, come on, and our new prime minister elect, we're taking in 25,000 Syrians. And I'm saying, well, where the hell are we going to get the money?
Oh, in Canada?
Yeah.
He's having to come to Canada?
25,000.
That is another mistake.
Well, wait, Nick.
Nick,
wait, it gets better. He's infusing $250 million into the immigration system here in Canada so that families can be brought here to be together.
It's going to be a mistake, just as Germany, France, and England have made, and Sweden. Also, would you believe China is clamping down? And I put this in my book, Obama, Islam, and Benghazi.
Yeah, I remember.
It shows that there are several countries that are starting to realize their values, their system of values and laws are being threatened, because what happens is that many of the Muslim communities in these countries are combining together in little enclaves where they kind of stick together, and they do not integrate with the values of the country. And they are they expanding to the point that even the police for their country are afraid to enter their communities.
That's right.
So it's become a real problem. Now, you said, yes, there are a lot of loving Muslims.
Yes.
And I would say this.
Right.
In every religion, I don't care which religion, there are loving people. Basically, most people are loving. I think that's part of human nature. I think people like to be loved and to love others. That is basic to human nature of people.
Yeah.
But the thing that people and our leaders and your leaders now in Canada do not realize is that all Muslims are taught from the same book, the Quran. And in the Quran, that's where the problem lies. I have also in my book, Obama, Islam, and Benghazi, devoted a chapter with the Islam section where I show at least 15, 20 verses that came out of the Quran unaltered that shows they advocate bigotry, violence, hatred, and the killing of people who do not follow Islam. So if it's in the book, eventually those who read it and take their book very seriously, they're going to become the people who are forming these organizations all over Africa and killing in the name of Allah. How nice. This is because of the Quran. There's no other document except the what do you call it, the laws that
Sharia
also provided.
Sharia law.
Yeah, Sharia law.
Yeah.
These are the two documents that pretty much indoctrinate many of the Muslims.
Well, you know what pisses me off, Nick? I have lived in Canada all my life. I love Canada. I'm proud to be a Canadian. But when I can't say Merry Christmas anymore because it's not politically correct.
Oh, is that happening there?
Oh, it certainly is, my friend.
I know it's happening here in the U.S.
Yep. It's happening here. So you know what I say? Merry Christmas. I'm putting out a big sign on my front lawn at home that says Merry Christmas. You know, next it's going to be Easter. Then, well, wait a minute. It's already been changed. In schools, they don't have Easter holidays now. They have spring break holidays. Because Easter...
Well, Easter holiday celebrates the rising of Jesus Christ, which is a very dominant figure in the Christian religion.
But you see, we can't
so
have...
They want to knock that out. They want to get that out.
Well, sure, because you're not allowed to teach religion in school anymore. You're not allowed to you say the Lord's Prayer. Like when I was going to school, we said the Lord's Prayer and we sang, "O Canada" and "God Save the Queen." But they don't do that anymore.
Why is it in certain... I believe I don't know about colleges, but in certain places of work, I know here in the U.S., they have allowed Muslims to have prayer rooms where they can bow down.
Definitely.
Now, a religion is not supposed to be for any particular group. You don't see Christians or Buddhists.
Yeah.
Or Jewish people praying in public, and this is happening on the streets of New York.
You know what I see it as, Nick? An act of defiance. Look, let's go back to 9/11. They wanted to build a mosque right across from the World Trade Center, where these terrorists flew the planes into the Twin Towers, killing 3,000 people plus, and then the Pentagon, and then the field in Pennsylvania.
That, Rob, is an act of war, but we did nothing. That was an act of war.
It definitely was.
You know, we lost more people. We lost more people on that particular 9/11 day than we did at Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
And we still did not follow up and say, okay, we know it's terrorism, but come on, you need to say our intelligent people cannot associate where these terrorists came from, which country they're associated with, and definitely it's got to be Iran is the culprit. And they're the ones who are have supplying a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation is with ISIS or ISIS, however they want to pronounce it. But it seems that Iran wants to fight ISIS. ISIS is a lot more fanatical than Iran, to the extent that even Iran is afraid of ISIS trying to take them over and make them part of their caliphate. So there's a little confusion here. But in either case, both the Iranians and the ISIS people, they all follow the Quran. Yep. It's a scripture that is definitely going to cause more havoc in the future. President Obama, I want to get back to the YouTube story.
Oh, please, sorry.
Right after the Benghazi attack, about 2 weeks later or so, he appeared at the United Nations on September 25th of 2012. And not only to the UN, but this is an international forum where you have representatives from many countries. And what does he state? I'm going to quote it. He says, "The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam." Oh my God, unquote. Now, this is the president of all Americans that has many different ethnic and religious persuasions and groups. Why should the president of the United States be concerned with the Prophet of Islam being slandered?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
When you look back
It
over
goes
the...
to show you that our own president is not out there for the United States and America. He's out there to defend the Prophet of Islam. Can you imagine?
But listen, isn't it within the Constitution of the United States that the church and government are separated?
They should be, which means that not only government, but even in business,
Right.
that is really what is inferred by that statement. And this has been done, in fact, by the Jewish community, the Christian communities. They all have church outside of the political process. But the Muslims have both theology and law combined. That's why Sharia law is really the implementation of the Quran. They go together. And this is why they're so effective, that they combine theology and control of their people through their own political process with Sharia law. And that's why they're more successful than the United States.
With everything that has happened during the tenure of President Obama, you know, we've got Syria, we've got the Iranian nuclear deal, we've got an increase of immigration, illegal immigrants entering the United States, and the list goes on and on and on. How are the people of the United States of America allowing this continue? Like $250 million went to Iran? Or was it billion?
It was $150 billion
Right.
that infused the Iran economy.
So why couldn't that $150 billion be spent on the homeless, the hungry, those who need a boost of life within the United States?
Because President Obama loves the Iranians, the Muslims, and Iran. He rather infused their economy, because with $150 billion, it's not only weapons and the nuclear program that they will pursue, but it allows their economy
To grow. Yeah.
But like you said, why didn't he have that 150? Well, first of all, let's get it clear. That money was apparently Islamic money that was held by the banks for some reason or other. But in any case, why let it go for them when Obama should have tried to get that kind of money in the United States economy? And he hasn't done that.
Plus,
if he would have, go ahead.
I was going to say, Nick, from what I saw of the Iranian deal, they walked all over the United States. You know, they've made it so that they control the terms and conditions of the deal. They got their money.
Right.
And what did the United States or any of the other countries signatory to the deal get?
I hate to laugh because it makes me feel that we are fools. The American people have been made into fools.
But it's not the American people.
Obama.
It's not the American people who are the fools.
No, it's not the American people.
Yeah.
But they're being made into fools by President Obama. A lot of the American people realize that Obama is certainly not a good leader, and he's proven that he has failed in foreign policy. He has not really energized the economy here in the United States. He has not made it a much better economy for the blacks. He has caused more division and bias between blacks and whites.
Yeah.
So this has been a president that has not made America strong and proud and a leader of the world. He has made us a second-rate nation.
You know, I had a guest on the show, Nick, who I think put it very eloquently, but saying what it really is. The election to put President Obama into the White House was a social experiment that went wrong.
Very true. Very true. A lot of the Americans felt that here's a black person, and perhaps coming from the black segment of society, he will be able to ameliorate the problems and get the blacks and whites and show more respect for black people, and the black people themselves will rise. And the experiment did not work. Obama has caused them to fall, not rise.
I was
more bigotry and hatred.
I was hoping that he would bring the nation together. I really did.
A lot of people did.
You know, with the great talk that he was doing before he got into power, I really believed, and I was hoping that instead of having all these different, African American, Spanish American, and so on, that it would just be America. Just like I'd love to see it here in Canada.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would think, just as the Asians, do you realize Koreans, Chinese, Japanese, these people who have come to America have assimilated the values of America.
Yeah.
They have taken advantage of the educational process. They are becoming leaders in America. They have made it for themselves here in America. Why? Because they have a good family upbringing and unit.
Yeah.
And Obama, because he does not really understand that, and he should. This is where he has failed as a man to lead the black people and to make them realize that they can be better than they are. And here he is a failure for the black people. Do the black people know that? I hope many do.
Yeah. Nick, we're coming to
right.
Nick, we're coming to the time in about 2 minutes when you and I have to say so long for tonight. But listen, I have to ask you a question or pose something to you. I don't know how to phrase it yet. During World War II, when Pearl Harbor was attacked, Japanese Americans were collected and put in internment camps, right?
Right.
Why wasn't this procedure used after the attacks of 9/11?
Because we don't want to define the problem. Today, Obama still does not want to associate Islamic terrorism with Muslim sort of people that are really brought up and educated with the Quran. And he calls Islam the religion of peace. That is a blatant lie.
Well, wait a second.
He doesn't know the history of Islam.
How can he call it a religion of peace when we see what happens with all the members of ISIS or ISIL, the beheading of people, the war that they're doing, the terror that they're inflicting? This is peace?
Well, before we sign off, I want to say, first of all, Rob, you are doing a great thing for the public, where you are able to have me on your program.
Oh, you're a good friend.
You put out your X Chronicles newspaper, which tries to inform and educate people about what's really happening out there. But we need more people like you. We need people in the media to educate the public. And this is where the media in the United States has failed. And that is another sad reality. I want to end by saying in the last minute just one paragraph that I wrote here.
Sure, please.
And I would like to say that the morality and truthfulness that is needed to keep America strong and be the greatest country on earth has reached a new low. The lack of integrity stems from the poor education provided to our youth, whereby respect and honor for the truth is not taught. Have Americans come to accept lies by their leaders, or are many poorly uneducated and can easily be made fools of? To accept the YouTube lies by President Obama and Hillary Clinton is confirmation that America may be losing its most beautiful heritage as the land of opportunity for all people, because its moral structure and high regard for the truth has deteriorated.
Powerful words, my friend. Powerful words. Hey, listen, I'm a Canadian. I am proud of my American friends and my American neighbors.
Well, you definitely sound like an American.
But I want to thank you so much for joining us, Nick. Let our listeners know your website where they can get more information and where they can get copies of your wonderful books.
That's www.futureofgodamen.com. www.futureofgodamen.com. Thank you.
Hey, Nick, do me a favor. Come back and speak with us in a couple more weeks as we'll see what is going on and how the traits are ever so changing. Always great talking to you, my friend.
Okay. And one last thing, you may want to also publish the second article I sent, which is questions to be pursued by Benghazi Select Committee.
We already had decided it's going in.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes two articles.
The first
one was the October 20th. Oh, yeah, two of them.
Yeah. Nick, take care of yourself, buddy.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Hey, Nick, regards
Rob,
regards to your family.
Yes. Thank you, and same to you.
Take care, buddy. Now. Bye-bye. Oh, what a guy. Man, he should run for president. He'd be a great president. But he's also very honest. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our radio site, www.xzoneradiotv.com, where you can listen to the X-Zone 724 365. And we're heard exclusively on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Digital Broadcast Network, Digital Satellite Network, and a brand new channel and network that we are opening up here at rel-mar entitled the TNA Radio Network. I'll be back on the other side of this break with the news. Don't go away.